Hello, and welcome back to the conversation. My name is Michael Barnett, your host, and today I am joined by Dr. Anna Litvak-Hinenzon, the Chief AI Product Officer, Adjunct Professor at Georgetown University's Master's Program on AI Management, and founder at Altech AI. Anna, I'm so happy to have you here today on a topic that everybody wants to hear about.
Hello, Michael. It is a pleasure being there.
Absolutely. So today what we are going to talk about is how to go from AI hype to real world execution. And the reason why we picked this topic today is because AI is probably one of the most hyped topic right now in business. Now, of course, there's a lot of meat behind the hype. It isn't just hype. It actually is an amazing technology that businesses, in my opinion, should be applying in their business today. But I'm sure it's kind of difficult to decide what to do, how to do it, who to do it with, what to choose to make it all happen. Whether you're a business owner, and in some cases, those who aren't business owners and just consumers who want to figure out how to use AI in their life. So you and I linked up not that long ago and decided that it would be great to get together to share information to those who are looking for those answers. And I couldn't have selected a better guest to have on the podcast today because, Anna, you are one of the experts in the industry and just, again, super excited to have you here. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your history in AI, how you got here, and some of the things that you do today?
Thank you, Michael. It is my pleasure to be on your podcast and happy to share a little bit about me. I help B2B SaaS companies launch products their clients cannot live without by combining product, technology, and AI strategy. And as you said, I'm also an educator providing AI training for executive and teaching at the AI Management Master's Program at Georgetown University. I'm teaching AI product development and management and AI ethics, which is not less important when developing AI products and solutions. And I'm also a subject matter expert and curriculum advisor there. So kind of in sense of like my background in AI, I'm one of those people that's been in this space for almost 20 years. Back from school. So I did my master's in computer vision and PhD in applied mathematics, and then spent my career developing and managing AI-powered products and solutions and SaaS platforms. So I bring kind of this breadth of experience across industries about AI and how you can really leverage AI for product innovation, for process improvement, for communication, and across your business as an overall strategy.
That is amazing. I know at Loanspark, we've really embraced AI as a tool to help us just improve our customer experience, improve our accuracy in the way that we process loans. We are a lending company. I'm a developer founder and also a very technical founder. Not all companies have that asset. I would say with that said, we still are only scratching the surface in how we are using AI as a business. And so I'm really interested to hear more about what you have to share today and some of the topics that we're going to explore. Building an AI strategy beyond like simple quick hacks, applying AI throughout a product lifecycle, AI literacy for leaders, and prepping for like the next generation of leaders as well. All things that are super important. So one of the things that I have seen, read, and heard through my contact with business leaders through the podcast and otherwise is that many business leaders feel pressured by like the FOMO, fear of missing out, right? There's if you're on LinkedIn or if you're on YouTube or if you're on any of the social platforms, like all you hear about is AI and how this company and that company they're changing their process, they're improving their process, they're adding AI for customer service and yada, 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 reducing their workforce and implementing AI. And if you're a consumer, you're watch CNN or Fox or BBC or whatever news outlet you get. And all you hear about is companies reducing workforce, adding AI. And that's like makes you scared, right? It's like fear. It's not exactly it's not like that. But I want to really focus on the fear of missing out that a lot of businesses are feeling now. And they feel like we got to do something. Like, what should we do? And then they just go jump in and do stuff, which probably isn't the right thing to do, right? So I guess instead of just jumping in because they're hearing about everybody utilizing AI in the businesses and just doing the wrong thing, what are some like questions that the business should be asking itself? What are some of the steps that a business should go through? One, to determine if AI is right for them. And then number two, like, how and where should they test it?
So first of all, when a business kind of starts, they should make sure they have some AI literacy, that they know the umbrella of the AI terms and possibilities in order to choose the right one for their business.
That makes sense.
So that would be the first step. And then after they have the literacy and provide the literacy to leadership mainly, because it's very important that the leadership is aware of what's possible, what's there, what's making sense. It's really important to provide training throughout the company. Because if you decide that you want to implement any type of AI into your business, the awareness and literacy and transparency and training are very important across all of your stakeholders. Then it is really important to align your AI initiative with the overall business strategy. I think a lot of businesses today, when they think AI, they're like, oh, this is so cool. AI helps with productivity, and people start individually using AI for productivity hacks, whether it's helping to write emails, with customer success, with marketing, with content. Each have their own little flavor of how they're using it for this kind of productivity hack, but it's very tactical and very siloed. A lot of AI initiatives fail. We keep reading from all these kind of research surveys that are done that over 80% of AI initiatives failed. Recently, we had the MIT report that showed that like 95% of companies that implemented all kinds of AI initiatives did not manage to get ROI, return on investment. So AI is everywhere. AI is in everything. And as you said, everybody talking about AI and want to gain more AI, and still so many AI initiatives fail. And if we ask ourselves why, it's mainly related to two components, in my opinion, literacy and strategy. So you need to know a little bit about it in order to bring it to your business or into your life or into your work in a successful way. And B, you need to have some strategy on how you're going to implement it. And the strategy of how you're going to implement it need to be aligned to the business objectives, aligned to the overall business strategy of your business, and aligned to in which unique way and which type of AI you could implement specifically for your business. And for that one, the answer is usually if you cannot do it in any other way, or if it's a repetitive process, or if it's something that you can automate, or if it's something that can help you innovate, then it's a good space to consider how AI solution can help you out.
A lot of companies, when they're thinking about AI, they're probably thinking about generative AI, right? They're not thinking about, natural language processing, which now is kind of being integrated into these generative AI tools, right? And they're probably not thinking about machine learning because that's more for technical people, right? To be thinking about that. They're thinking about using tools like ChatGPT, right? And the UI, or Gemini and how that can be integrated into my business, or things like Claude or other tools like that. Unless you're a developer or a technical founder or a technical team, you're likely not thinking about, well, how do I integrate AI into my products, which you and I are going to talk about in a minute. So for the non-technical use cases, right? ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, I would say probably ChatGPT and Gemini are probably the most common and popular tools that are being used today. I think I would guess that most businesses are using it for things like writing emails and creating maybe social media content. like the low level use cases, in my opinion, for AI. Super basic use cases. And I think it's important for businesses to understand there's a lot more to AI than writing emails and generating social media content for LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or something like that. What are some of the use cases that you found that businesses are using AI for that are not integrated into a product?
That's an excellent question. So as I said, there are I see it as three main verticals for AI opportunities for organization: product, process, and communication. And how would you use generative AI tools, right? Which is not part of the product, which we'll address later on, as you said. I think generative AI is excellent for having business leaders and executives use, and not necessarily technical people, and those client services people, sales people, go-to-market people, marketing people, everybody. You do not need to have any technical skills in order to use it. You just need to learn to drive it without needing to be able to build an agent. And this provides a great opportunity to, first of all, understand how you can, again, strategy and not just tactical, how you can use it across your business. So for example, instead of everybody using their own tool, ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Copilot or Perplexity, Midjourney, all these kind of tools that everybody are familiar with today, instead of doing that, as being AI literate and knowing what seems to be best serving your business, in sense of which one will integrate better into your overall tech stack. So for example, if you are a Google tech stack user, maybe Gemini is better for you. If you are Microsoft based and Azure, maybe Copilot is better for you, etc. Right? So first of all, realize which of these tools will be great overall across your business as a strategy. Then providing training on how to use it across your business, not just everybody use it the way they want, right? Mm-hmm. Having the training of how to use it for our particular business. And the third thing is to make sure that the way it is used across your business is safe for your business, that your employees and stakeholders know how to use it without having breaches in regulations or having loss of private data or proprietary code or algorithms, right? So making sure it is used in a way that doesn't compromise anything about your business, about your clients, or about your customers. Yeah. And as you've figured out those things, right, even with generative AI, you need to figure out what's the best use case. Is it using it for communication across the company, for emails, marketing, etc.? Maybe it is for automating your onboarding. Generative AI is perfect for training and onboarding and for automating processes. For example, you can leverage generative AI to generate standard onboarding for your employees that then is easily implemented for each new employee. You can generate processes for having a wiki of knowledge base that is using generative AI. You create a knowledge base that every employee can ask a question. How much PTO days do we have this year? And get an answer without bothering anybody in HR. You can easily collect client feedback and integrate it into your client success systems, etc., etc. The examples are vast, and you need to understand which example would work for your business, will bring you ROI, and you can strategically implement across the whole business rather than every employee using something else.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of businesses likely struggle with. It's the how and where do I apply this? And then, well, it's the where do I apply this? And then it's the how do I do it in a safe, scalable way that has like some rules around it. And I just, from what I hear from my guests and from businesses that we interact with through Loanspark, I hear that a lot. It's like, well, we want to do the AI thing, but we're just not sure where to start. Or we want to do the AI thing, is what a lot of people say, but we just don't know like what to choose. Like, do I use it to take our quarterly results and upload it into the AI and have the AI find insights and trends that we just didn't see on our own. And so how do I do that? Do I just have an individual just who runs the reports every month or every quarter? They just upload, like, what are all the different use cases? And I think that's what a lot of businesses struggle with, because they don't always know what are the places. They just hear about all the hype and it's like, well, I need to do something so I can say I'm using AI, right? And then they end up implementing it the wrong way, which may not affect them today, but I think in the near future or in the future, that can cause problems. Some of those problems you just identified.
It all starts with literacy and getting the training for all stakeholders, even basic training to understand what will be useful for our business case, what will bring ROI to us. And I would suggest starting by asking, which tech stack are you using today? Which systems are you using today? And that will already help guide you into which the first tools, if you don't use any generative AI tools yet, that will guide you automatically towards which generative AI tools will integrate nicely within your existing tech stack. The second question is what the type of your business, because different generative AI tools are more suitable or less suitable to certain types of business, right? Are you using Jira for your tickets, for example? Then there is a way to integrate AI there. Are you using Confluence? Are you using other systems where you generate your knowledge base, right? So all these questions help to understand where and how to integrate AI and where to start. But again, for every business, I would start from training, and I would start from having a little audit of what we have today, which tech stack we have today, what are needs, what are pain points, what would really save us time, kind of doing the analysis of what takes most time, and those pain points of things that take a lot of time and a lot of effort, can we bring generative AI to help with that, right? And then I would encourage experimentation.
Would you suggest using AI to figure out where a business should use AI?
Definitely. One of the things that I always recommend people to do is using generative AI tool to learn. And both ChatGPT and Gemini are very good with telling you how you can learn or how you can go about starting something, right? So not necessarily it will give you a recipe that you can just go ahead and do, but it will start your thinking process. You can use those generative AI tools to learn about AI, to learn about prompting, to learn about how it can leverage various opportunities within your business of AI usage. And this back and forth, like a conversation, you can use it as your business coach on AI, and having those conversations with the generative AI tool about your business and about how you should go about AI strategy and how you should learn AI, this is very useful and will get you started. And as you will get going with that, it will bring more ideas. The other thing that I always recommend people to do is to follow some of the popular newsletters, such as Superhuman or The Batch or Super Data Science podcast. And there are just so many more, or Open Data Science newsletter. There are so many of them right now. And they bring you daily or weekly all the new AI tools and all the new AI news. And you can take a new tool once a week, let's not say every day, once a week, and just experiment with it. And as you will experiment, you will have questions. And then you can ask those questions of your favorite chat, whether it's, again, ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Perplexity. You can ask and learn how to continue using these tools. You can also ask one generative AI tool how to generate a prompt for another. For example, you can ask ChatGPT how to generate prompts for Perplexity, or how to generate prompts for Midjourney to generate amazing pictures, or how to generate prompts for Claude for writing code, etc. And if you start your prompt with assume that you are an expert in AI, what would be the first thing I should learn about AI? Or assume you are an expert in finances. How would I go about investing my 401k? All these types of interactions with the generative AI tool will help you learn.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%. And so the first step is get started. And I think for any business owner who is considering implementing or adopting AI, it's don't do what the irresponsible leaders do, which is just like, just kind of try to implement something without being educated on the tools. It does make sense to use AI, even if you're a basic user. You can use AI, as Anna just mentioned, and just tell it what you want to do, right? I need you to operate as if you are an expert consultant in the AI space. I am a founder of a company that does X, Y, and Z. Here's what our company does. Here's how our company works. Here's how our company is. Here are the departments that we're divided into. And here are some of the things that we're looking to explore in AI. I'm building the prompt here, right, Anna? We're building the prompt.
Yes, exactly.
Live. And then tell it what you want it to do. Do this, do that, and ask me as many questions as you need to ask me until you're extremely confident that you have the right answer and you're providing me the right advice, right? In general.
Yes. Yes. So about prompting, you need to be on one hand as detailed as you can and telling the tool all the knowledge you believe it needs to give you an answer. You need to be an expert in XYZ. For example, you're an expert AI consultant. I need advice about my business. And my business is a finance business, loan business, or a consumer business, whatever it is. Those are the departments. That's the specific advice that I need about using AI. And my current problem is, how would I use AI for process automation, for example? Or how would I upskill my employees on using AI for daily productivity, etc. That being said, it's very important that the prompt is not too long, because those AI chat tools, they have a context span and a memory span that if you exceed, you are more likely to get hallucinations. Mm-hmm. In order to reduce the hallucinations, your prompt needs to be as detailed as possible, but yet concise enough to stay with the context window and within the memory window, right? So don't start with a 2-page prompt. Start with a very detailed prompt, like you would speak to a person. But similarly, like you speak to a person, you don't want to talk in an hour. You want to talk 3 to 5 minutes and stop.
Correct. And I think that's what a lot of people who are testing into AI, when they're trying to explain to AI what to do, I think for those who agree, Anna, to just, okay, fine, I made a decision, I'm going to try it. And then they try it, and then it's like, it didn't get me what I was looking for. It gave me some information that was not useful. And the reason behind that, and this is a little off topic, but I think it's perfect for our listeners to understand, is the context that you provide to the AI is what is going to essentially drive the output. So the better the context that it has about your situation, the better the output. So what I say at work is garbage in, garbage out. We have to really understand, as Anna had mentioned a moment ago, the format to give it the context or the prompt, so it knows enough about what you want from it, but not too much. Because if you, again, like you said, if you talk for an hour, it's not going to really remember as well the things that you told it towards the end. It's going to remember really what it told you what you told it in the beginning. So, or the vice versa.
Or vice versa.
I think vice versa. I think vice versa, right? Vice versa.
The problem is it's usually vice versa, yeah.
Yeah, so be brief.
That's also why it's advised to, rather than do a lot of iterations, sometimes it's advised just to revise your initial prompt and edit it and start from the initial prompt, edit it, rather than having 3 zillion iterations, because then you're more likely to get to hallucinations.
Makes a lot of sense. And I think that's probably a perfect advice for someone who is just starting out and getting into or wants to test AI. It's focusing on building a really good explanation on what it is that you want it to do. And that's where you want to start. And if you focus on building a really good explanation, concise explanation, but detailed explanation, that's when you're going to get the most out of these generative tools, right?
That's correct. And there is one more tool that I want to mention that we haven't mentioned it. It's Google's Notebook LM. This is a wonderful learning tool you can upload PDFs, books, videos, pictures. In addition to your prompting, you can actually upload a lot of materials, and then you can either generate a nice short podcast that summarizes these materials and get you started with a quick understanding. For example, you can upload some of the recent AI reports and then hear a quick podcast about the findings and the summary of this report. That will get you started. And then you can have a whole interaction with this tool. It's a learning tool where you would ask questions, any questions about the content you uploaded, right? So for example, if you want to learn more about how to automate with AI, find a few PDFs, a few podcasts, a few videos, upload it, and then you can ask questions about it. If you want to learn more about the state of AI, upload some of the reports that are kind of from McKinsey, from MIT, and others, and ask it questions about those reports. Ask when were businesses failing and being successful. That's another amazing way to learn.
Notebook LM is an awesome technology. It's amazing. I'm working on adopting the tool internally for learning complex information about the lending process and using it in our new employee onboarding, because as adults, we learn well by, well, one, doing, but also hearing things, right? Generally, hearing things and doing things in adult learning is...
And asking questions.
And asking questions. So we have essentially agreed to use the technology, but now we have a lot of projects that are in the way, but it's one of the things that we plan to implement before the end of the year is using Notebook LM in our learning and development process at Loanspark. So all good stuff. I think these are all great tips for those who are thinking about jumping into AI, especially for the first time. I'd like to now transition to something a little bit more complex, which is utilizing AI to build better products. And that's something that I know you do. You consult on that. You educate on that. That's something that we do here at Loanspark because we've integrated AI into our products. So I wanted to just spend a little bit of time for the more technical listeners and just speaking about that as a topic. And I know you had an analogy that maybe you want to share it about your MATLAB analogy about how generated code sometimes works, but it isn't always optimized, and what that means for startups who are using AI to build features.
Yeah, I love this example because it's kind of so real life, but it's real life for people who are actually familiar with the MATLAB versus kind of the actual coding. So there is a lot of ways in which people can use AI for product innovation and product development. You can use AI as part of the product. There are those AI-powered products, and those products that use machine learning models within the product to provide all kinds of insights, okay? Or having AI integrated in the product for user interface so that the user can ask questions of the product. And there are opportunities with using AI for product development, and there are opportunities for using AI for product management. And all of this would use different tools and different approaches. An example of an AI-powered product for my past, my team developed an AI diagnosis assist tool to use genome sequencing with AI to provide a diagnosis suggestion. This AI diagnosis assist tool won the Guinness World Record for diagnosing rare diseases in newborns under 24 hours.
Wow.
And this is amazing. It would take humans months or even years to analyze all that and diagnose. And those first 24 hours are critical. AI, because its ability to find patterns and analyze vast amounts of data in seconds, can analyze the vast amounts of data as related to genome sequencing and to rare diseases and provide candidates for diagnosis that then the human physician can review, and with the human physician knowledge and expertise and domain expertise, diagnose correctly the patient, even in the case of rare disease. Another example is of my kind of type of work, a platform that my team developed for providing sentiment about companies, providing reputation scores about corporations, providing business strategy suggestions. Those are powered by machine learning algorithms and AI within the product. And for those type of products, you should usually have a technology team and data science team in place to help you build those models that are integrated within your product.
The interesting thing about this is a lot of the in-product use cases for AI are things that like businesses, mostly big companies, would have invested in research. So for example, if I wanted to understand the sentiment of my business, in order to do that, I would need to conduct pretty deep research, expensive research that takes in calls with customer support, surveys to customers, calls to sales. And I would have had to take all of this data in and had a team that is rating this information to kind of come up with what we thought was some sentiment about our sales process, our support process, our onboarding process, whatever the process that you're looking to derive sentiment for. The AI is able to just take all of that data and in seconds or minutes come up with the answer, because what the human would have done in weeks or months, the AI can just get done almost instantly. So I found a lot of those cases are things that humans can do, but it would take a lot of time and a lot of money and may not even be super accurate in some cases, because a lot of times the evaluation metrics are not objective, they're subjective, which can influence the accuracy of data analysis. What do you think?
In order to develop products more effectively today with the use of generative AI, that's a great opportunity to incorporate these tools that can analyze vast amounts of data and provide insights. For example, you still need to have your product managers having customer and prospect interviews, right? However, you can leverage generative AI tool both to do an in-depth market research with the generative AI tool. Again, having those conversations of you are a product leadership expert. You are an expert chief product officer. Please help me to do market research about this new feature that I'm planning to introduce into my product. I'm going to change the location of my line where my user asking questions from the bottom of the screen to the left upper corner. And I'm planning to do A/B testing. But before even starting my A/B testing, I want you to provide all the market research of competitors in my field of business who implemented a search bar for the user to ask questions, and in which part of the screen they implemented it, and what was generating the most engagement. This is just an example that I'm kind of inventing on the spot, but this is a great example of how you can use generative AI in your process for developing and managing products by doing a market research, whether it's a feature, whether it's your whole product idea, whether it's innovation of your product, whether it's a competitive research about your competitors or clients. You will get amazing answers, especially if you know how to ask the right questions. That's
Makes
number
sense.
one.
Okay.
Number two is that you can have the vast amount of the client and prospect interviews that your team collected. You put it in like one place, and you can use either a RAG, retrieval augmentation generation pipeline, or MCP or other method to have your generative AI tool analyze all of the feedback and provide you the main insights from analyzing the client and prospect feedback, which is unbiased in the sense it doesn't have the prejudice of the humans. It might have some AI related biases, and we can talk about that separately and how to mitigate those, but you might have a very good analysis of this data instantly. And then as a third component, you can use generative AI to help you generate your prototypes, whether it's the mock-up of the prototype or actual code for prototyping, and quickly generate your first prototype and then do the circle again of showing it to your clients, have client interviews, and have the generative AI tool analyze the client feedback and have a quick iteration to the next level and next improvement.
Is full circle for product teams. It's using AI to help suggest, to do deep research and market research regarding potentially improving your product, where to implement the AI, how to implement the AI from a UI UX perspective into your product, utilizing AI to essentially make decisions about the data that you're retrieving from inside of your product, whether it's interviews, whether it's surveys, whether it's customer support tickets, et cetera, utilizing AI to kind of parse through that data and make decisions about potentially the sentiment or some other decision that you wanted to make about the data, okay? And then potentially using AI to help you develop product improvements or new products, right, as well. So there's a lot of
new features
or implement new features as a product developer, or using AI, like you mentioned, to A/B test new features, or maybe using AI to do automated code reviews. That's what we use it for at Loanspark, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Using AI to audit code, right, as well, which I think is a part of the code reviewing process. So there's a lot of awesome ways that you can use AI to build better products. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of pat on the back, because at Loanspark, we use AI to do most of these things.
AI becoming better and better at writing code, and using vibe coding, which is writing code with help of prompts, is something that's becoming more and more popular. And this is awesome, right? We can generate our prototypes very quickly by using vibe coding and using AI tools to help us generate that code. While this is awesome for prototyping, I personally don't think it's still there for production level code. And even for those code reviews, yes, I'm all for using AI to have code reviews, to handle pull requests, to do code audits. I'm all for that. But similarly, like with decision making, with code as well, we still need to have a human in the loop. The expert human should review the code and make sure that it is correct, bug-free, and safe to use. And the MATLAB example that we discussed is, whoever familiar with the MATLAB tool, which is used a lot for students in universities. With MATLAB, you can write at high level, just algorithmic level, without writing the actual code. It's like an interpreter. And it slightly reminds me of the generative AI tools of today. Instead of writing C++, for example, or C# from scratch, you could use MATLAB to write your solution on the algorithmic level and then implement one of the MATLAB toolboxes to translate this into a native code, for example, in C++, and have your application running quickly, because their interpreters cannot run as quickly as C++ native code or a C# native code, right? So for your front end, for your front end final productized application, which is client facing, you need it to have a good performance and run fast. However, when you use the package of translating the MATLAB code into a native code, the code could be even without any bugs and running really well, but it wasn't refactored code. It didn't look proper. And you still needed to have a human to go over the code and organize it into functions and packages and refactor it and make it reusable. Similarly with generative AI is in a sense like an interpreter. You would write some prompt in human language, in natural language, and this tool will process it into generate code, mostly in Python. It's very good with Python, and Python becoming the new language, right, that we are all using for everything, right? It's not that new anymore, but it's really kind of becoming something that is the most used language for anything. Data science, machine learning, and AI. In the recent decade, it really kind of went above all the other tools and languages in this domain.
Definitely the code of choice
for many, the language of choice for many. Yeah. And generative AI is excellent for generating Python code. However, you still need that human in the loop to review the code, check that it's generating the outputs that you intended, that it is bug-free, that is safe, right? That is not going to break your system. Like we remember a few cases that recently happened. Like, you don't want to break your product. You don't want your clients to have, especially in the finance field, right, to have any hurdles.
You don't want to introduce vulnerabilities. You don't want to introduce vulnerabilities into your code.
You do not want to introduce vulnerabilities or open doors. So yes, use AI for prototype code or even for your first draft. But then we're still in a stage of the AI where you need that human in the loop to review it and fine-tune it and make it usable and production ready.
100%. And I think that's where vibe coding has become really popular. So I think for business owners or development teams, or product managers, heads of product, where their teams are utilizing AI to write code, please don't vibe code it and then roll that into production. Please don't do that. Okay. And be very cautious of that. Because for all the reasons that Anna just mentioned, it can actually cause more problems than good. Great for MVP, great for, in some cases, for a startup. You want to build an MVP. Okay, I get that. But for companies that are actually not startup companies who are building new products and building new features, 100% human in the loop. You have to apply a traditional development process to ensure vulnerability free to the extent that you can, bug free to the extent that you can, code that goes through the typical code reviews that non-AI developed code would go through to become production ready. That's really important because there are, like you said, a lot of stories recently about these vibe coded apps that have been vulnerable to PII and customer information being accessed, not on purpose and not by a hacker, right? It's just because there was a vulnerability in the code, it enabled PII to be shared, and that's problematic. You don't want it. Trust me, you don't want it. Okay, something that you focused and spoke a lot about early on in our session today. Clearly, AI literacy is really important to you. And because of that, it should also be important to us, AI literacy. Would you mind just touching briefly on how business owners and teams can become more literate, specifics? Because like, it's easy to talk about it in a general sense, but like for example, at Loanspark, what are some of the things that we can do specifically, me, the owner, and our team, that I can do for our team so I can kind of upskill our team to become more literate in AI in general?
First of all, subscribe to some of the newsletters and listen to some of the podcasts out there that I mentioned earlier. I won't repeat them. And use those AI tools to learn. Ask the AI tool questions to learn, right? In addition to that, I think it's really, if your business can do that, I think it's useful to bring somebody that would come to your company and do a bootcamp or a training, either to your leadership or to a group of your stakeholders within the company on the AI tools that are most relevant to your industry, to your business, and to your company, and upskill everybody to the same level.
Okay.
The other thing is make sure that whichever AI tools you're using or implementing in your strategy, you are very transparent about it with all of your stakeholders and keep everybody informed what we are using in AI, how we are using it, why we are using it, right? And how we're making sure that it's safe, both internally and externally, and how it's going to bring us ROI, how it relates to our business objectives, right? And because AI is evolving very fast, you need to keep training. And you need to have strategy not just for the use of AI, but also a strategy of upskilling and training continuously on all the new things that are arising. So we spend most of our conversation talking about generative AI chats, about automation tools, about machine learning, and about predictive analytics. However, today, more and more, agentic AI agents become very popular and integrated into the business. And they are very useful. They're extremely useful. Not only they are useful to automate processes that you do today in your business and can save a lot of time and a lot of effort, such as scheduling things, summarizing things, etc. AI agents can help you not just to accelerate your product development and code writing, your scheduling, your meeting management, and many other processes that you have in your business, but they can really help you save a lot of money while increasing productivity. And that will allow you to devote more time to strategy, devote more time to your employees, and devote more time to your customers. However, because agentic AI also have a lot of risk involved, because those AI agents have autonomy to make actions. And because those AI agents have autonomy to make actions, you want them to make the right actions. So you need to make sure that whoever develop your AI agents and whoever implements them have high literacy on AI in generally and on AI agents in particular to make sure they do it in the safest possible way. And that also can happen both through using AI tool to learn and podcasts and newsletters and taking courses, and there are a lot of courses out there, but also bringing people to do workshop and training to your employees within the company as related specifically to the use cases you need.
Makes a lot of sense. When you come into an organization and provide consulting on all of these things, what can a company expect from you and the leadership and guidance that you're bringing to them?
So I like to start with a company from providing AI training based on the level that the company needs and providing the AI training to their executive and leadership and doing workshops for their stakeholders to make sure that they have the literacy required to make decisions. I provide AI audit, which I'm reviewing with the company how they implement AI across their business and across the product, and provide the strategy on how this can be done effectively in a way that aligns to business goals and ROI, and help them with building and implementing a strategy for bringing AI into their business and into their product.
So, Anna, how can our listeners find your company? And if they are interested to bring you and your company into their business to obtain some of those benefits, how would they be able to do that?
I invite everybody to follow me on LinkedIn and send me a message, and then I'm happy to refer people to my website and connect with them and share my email and speak with them. But I think today LinkedIn became like the main hub where we can all connect and follow each other and find each other. So my name is pretty unique, so if you put my name into LinkedIn, you immediately would find my LinkedIn profile and we can continue from there.
Awesome. Well, Anna, your expertise is invaluable. The information that you provided today is so useful. A lot of things that a lot of people wanted to hear and know about. I urge every business owner to challenge themselves to learn more about AI. The tools are so powerful, so useful, and can really help you improve your business and improve your ROI. But as Anna said, we have to implement it the right way. We don't want to use a shotgun approach. We just don't want to just jump in and implement without a plan. Want to build a plan, build a strategy, start small, but just try it out. Try it out. And for those of you who are ready to really take the plunge and you want to really take things to the next level, look up Anna on LinkedIn. The spelling of her name is Anna, A-N-N-A. Last name is L-I-T-V-A-K. Hinenzon, H-I-N-E-Z-O-N. Easy to find on LinkedIn. Resident expert on AI and how to implement AI into your business. I thank you all for watching. Anna, I thank you for being here. This was amazing.
Thank you, Michael. It was fun and it was my pleasure.